and we want to welcome you to Diverse Dialogues. And today we want to introduce you to a remarkable couple who have been engaged in learning and distributing safe conversations in colleges, universities, and largely in faith-based communities. And they will bring and get us up to date on what they have been doing. So we want to welcome Pollyanna and Baldwin Barnes today as our guests on Diverse Dialogues. Welcome to all of you, and welcome Pollyanna and Baldwin.
So I have the first question. We know about your background, but would you share with our viewers what you were doing as you were growing up, what you decided to be as an adult, and basically, what's your first work as an adult?
I started as an educator, as a teacher, and that led me to all levels in education, teacher, principal, superintendent, teaching at the college and university level, of course, elementary and secondary. So I've, the whole gamut of the educational organizational structure. I have had a taste of each level.
Okay, actually, I didn't know that. So what I'm hearing you said, as an adult, you wanted to help teach other people things, new things.
Definitely, yes. And so it just happened that I believe God just led me into relationship ministry. As I was working for a religious organization, Seventh-day Adventist, and I was in education. Then I went into family ministries, and there we got re-educated, got trained by many great leaders in relationship, and went back to school, got a degree in counseling, and so for the last
and so you were really interested in Seventh Adventist, the church, and educating others there. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And so I was an educator in administration, especially in the northeast area of region of this country. So being there, we had about 200 churches we were working with. So both of us became family ministries directors. We worked together for all those churches. And
so you met Baldwin, and then he too was a part of that. And so, right, if I get it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So we have had a long and satisfying journey together as a couple. We've been married 45 years, and
Wow.
In order to stay married for 45 years, we have done a lot of relationship work, including finding out about safe conversation dialogue, and that has been a great difference in our relationship.
Yes, we remember very well getting to love you want. You were very curious about that, and then you came to our first training institute in Dallas.
Yeah.
Of when we were training, Harville said, Helen, not just therapist, let's get dialogue for everybody.
So tell us how you got into Safe Conversations. What was your own ramp?
Well, as Pollyanna was saying earlier, the work that we were doing with our churches led us into ministering to families and to couples. And in order to be grounded and to have something to share, each year we ourselves would take on, a couples retreat. We would go on retreat ourselves.
For ourselves.
Yeah, for ourselves.
Oh.
Because we had to nourish ourselves first before we would nourish others. So that was a practice every year. We would go somewhere, you know.
And so the person who has been very instrumental in sharing a lot of relationship work with us, mentioned that they were going to be doing some work at Omega Institute in New York. And so we found out about Omega. We went online, and one of the workshops we saw on there was Getting the Love You Want with Harville, Hendrix and Helen, LaKelly, huh? And that was back in about, what, 2014 or
15 years ago. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we came to that workshop, and Helen was not there, but
yeah, she was not well that weekend.
Harville did the job. And as you, Harville, talked about Getting the Love You Want, you mentioned taking your clinical technology out of the clinic into the community and sharing it with the world. And that's how you're developing this new workshop called Safe Conversation.
And we got excited about it. We said, I want to be part of that.
Yes. We're so excited. We showed up in Dallas before.
No, we had talked to Harville. We talked to Harville. So one of the lunches, we asked, we set up an appointment and we talked with Harville. And he said, okay, ask us about ourselves. And so, and you said to us, okay, so I will have, give me your information and I'll have my secretary get in touch with you and we'll go from there. And sure enough, we had to write about ourselves, go through the process of admission, and we were accepted. And on the first weekend, we were in Dallas.
Right. We did our first training institute for safe conversation dialogue, and you all were the only people that got on an airplane to come from another state. Everyone else was in Dallas.
That's really interesting what happened. So the second weekend, after the first weekend we were there, a date was given to all of us that the next weekend would be whenever that was. I don't even remember. So we had scheduled it. We bought our tickets, reserved our hotel rooms, and so we flew in. We didn't hear anything from anyone. We figured nothing was changed, and we flew in Dallas to go to the training. We got to the door. The door was locked.
Oh.
So after waiting for a while, we called Charlotte.
Yeah.
And Charlotte, what's happening? There's no training today. She said,
right.
We had changed, and somehow our name was not on the list, of correspondence, and we did not get the news.
Oh.
And I tell you, this was really a remarkable weekend. We'll never forget that, because we had the opportunity to sit with the two of you and get to know you. And I think our relationship began from that weekend on. So it was a blessing in disguise.
Right.
So the on-ramp was the couples workshop at Omega, and then you came down here. And if I'm following that, you came down to one weekend, and there was a second weekend after that. You came back, and I didn't quite get it. The door was locked. There was no workshop that weekend. But it was a miscommunication. Your names were not on the list, and so forth. And you stayed with us, even though we couldn't keep our schedules done very well. Mm-hmm. So
that's good.
So I want to shift the a little bit so that our audience can really get to know your work. So let's pick up with your work, and just to remind the audience that this is called diverse dialogues, which means we're having conversations with people who have joined the Safe Conversations Dialogue global social movement, and that this movement has a vision, which is to teach dialogue to 2.4 billion people in the next 20 to 30 years. And so Pollyanna and Baldwin had the audacity to join that project, because it is an enormous project. And we have the honor of having them join this because they are distinguished professionals themselves with a huge impact on our culture and on other cultures. And so I want you to pick up, because I know you all I think one of the first things I heard you all were doing, I mean, you may have done something before, and I know you've done much after that, but you were at some university in Kenya called Kenyatta,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And I saw numbers up to 5,000 students doing something one day, and I thought, well, who are these people that they can command such numbers? And so I think that was my own ramp to your work with Safe Conversations.
Yeah, I
But
think
you
they had
do
relatives
but
that-
you do your own ramp. How did you get there? How did you get connected? Because you worked in congregations, you're working in faith-based communities, obviously you're working in universities, and I'm sure you're working in communities that may not be faith-based, but or may be. But tell us about you and your work with Safe Conversation.
Well, when something has impacted you as much as Safe Conversation impacted us, you don't keep it to yourself. And so that's exactly what happened to us.
So what I'm hearing you say, when you understand how transformational dialogue is, you don't keep it to yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after we did the Omega, not Omega, but the Getting the Love You Want, a retreat, and then we got trained in Safe Conversations. Now, when you're being trained, you have to practice it yourself. So when we practice it and we saw the impact it had on us, because we were already in the working with families and in relationships, we thought, what a gold mine, what an opportunity, what a gift God has given to us to pass on to others. And so we began to share with churches that we were responsible for. And when I say responsible for, as far as supporting the churches in relationships, in building up their relationships. We were not the pastors of those particular churches, there were over 200 churches, but our responsibility was to provide tools of empowerment to families and the community. And so I must say, Safe Conversations was like the grounding, the number one, the biggest tool that we have used during our ministry there. So we began to do the workshop, and then after a while, whatever length of time we're given, if it's 40 minutes, we will infiltrate something about Safe Conversation in there. Whatever it is that we were doing, there was some aspect, a segment of the Safe Conversation, either the dialogue or the whole workshop, something included in there. And so we were infused, our work was infused with Safe Conversation. And as we began to share going places, then people began to invite us from different churches. We had done a presentation at a convention of pastors from, who came from all over the world. And they began to invite us all over the world, to share the Safe Conversations or aspects of the Safe Conversations with them. And so, in the process, there was a project that some friends of ours were going to do in Kenyatta University, specifically with the Seventh-day Adventist young people. And so that project, something happened. I was still not sure what it was. They decided not to go to Kenyatta University. And so I said, if they can't go, why don't we go? We have the tool, and the young people need that tool. We're going. And so we invited, we spoke with the chaplain at the university, and he was so happy because he didn't have anybody to come that year. And it was a 10-day camp meeting, they called it. And so we made arrangements, and we spoke with Helen, and Helen supported us, and other organizations and individuals supported us. And we were a team of 8 who went to Kenyatta University to do the work.
Baldwin, you were the minister. You were the pastor when we met you there, and Pollyanna was the head of marriage and family.
Well, continuing from where Pollyanna left off, the 10-day that we spent at Kenyatta was a multifaceted experience because on the Sabbath, the 2 Sabbaths that we were there, we had worship service, and so the both of us presented, preached at those worship services.
And we had workshops in the afternoon.
Workshops in the afternoon, and on Sunday we did the full Safe Conversation workshop, and then throughout the week we were doing
practicing on the different themes or segments of the dialogue.
Right.
Yeah.
And the young people would take what they had gotten at those practice sessions, and they would go out into their community, whether in their families or with other students, and they would share, what they had gotten, and they would come back.
For that particular day. We give them assignments. I'm an educator, so we give them assignments every day to go practice the things that they had learned with us. Yeah.
And they come back just, excited.
Fired up.
In fact, actually bringing people back with them who had not attended the full, workshop or the sessions before. So it kind of snowballed on itself during the week until, as you mentioned, Harville, earlier, we had like 5,000,
6,000
students there on the last weekend.
Wow.
It was really an exciting.
So, so I want to know, Baldwin, as a pastor, you were pastor for, and as well as an official, I understand, in your church hierarchy for many, many years. And I also have theological background, but I've not been as in the public as a minister as you have. But you and I know that churches and the religious world is not free of conflict, and that and that's one of the interesting pieces about that. So I would like to hear, and I think our audience would like to know, how do you feel about, and what has been your experience in helping faith-based communities in conflict deal with that conflict using the dialogue process? Is that something that you have done that you can share, if not your own version of what bringing it into faith-based communities, what impact that is on congregations and denominations?
Well, my experience with using the dialogue in faith-based communities has been one of the most impactful areas of my ministry. Faith-based communities are quite hierarchical. There are these, levels of religious leaders, and then there are the lay people who are in leadership, and then there are the, regular members, church members. And those levels have difficulty communicating well with each other because of the perceived, structure or the perceived difference in power and so forth between all of those levels. The dialogue process brings all of those people, regardless of what level they're on, onto the same place, so that a pastor, a local church elder, the members, we are all human. We're conversing one with the other. We are speaking and we're listening on the level. That's how the dialogue works. And so, because of the nature of the dialogue, it helps to reduce conflict immediately, because it's causing us to connect and to communicate.
To listen. Listen to someone else. Listen to someone.
Yes. And having those leaders be able to listen to the local membership, or when we have the training with the pastors, have all of the pastors be on the same level with one another, listening to one another. That dialogue process really is impactful in faith-based communities.
Yeah, and so one of the things that I do in teaching is I talk about the vertical structure, as you just talked about, and this is not only true in congregations, but it's true in corporations, in families. Somebody at the top talks to the people at the bottom, who are supposed to listen to the people at the top and do what they say, whether they agree or not. And what I'm hearing, that bringing dialogue into that hierarchy lateralized it so that it moved from vertical to horizontal, and everybody experienced some equity in their relationship with each other, rather than having special status. Did I get that pretty much right?
Perfectly.
Perfectly. So to me, that is really an achievement on your part, to bring it into a centuries-old vertical structure, religion, because you got God at the top, and then somebody who represents God at the top of everybody, and everybody else is below that. And it feels to me, with my theological background, is somehow that is in some sense helping people move into love, which is sort of what the church is about, that it moves out of polarization into connecting, which is, I connect or identify connecting with love, that's somehow who we are, what we are, and when we're there, we're in communion with the whole, including the divine. So how does that sound to you? Do you jive into that theology? Or?
I resonate 100% with that. In the church, we talk about and we sing about, being equal or being level, the ground being level at the cross. Yeah. So in other words, in communication or in connection with Jesus, all of us are on the same level.
Yeah.
So we talk about it, but in terms of practice, it doesn't occur. And so when you bring the technology of the dialogue into the community, it actually makes it happen. So, it makes it happen.
So, and I don't want to put you on the spot, because if you're like me, memory sometimes fails me. But do you have a story to concretize that transition where you saw happen with bringing dialogue into the religious community? A story about how that worked, or a story from Kenyatta and what happened to the people, how it occurred, what they said, what did they do afterwards? Just any sort of concrete narrative about some event. Then, if nothing comes up, we'll go on to another question.
Well, I think of Kenyatta, for instance. One day, I think it was early on, we had taught, the students had practice on the stems, the stems of the dialogue.
Sentence stems. Is that what you mean? The sentence stems.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so we send them out in the community to speak to people in that community that way before they would go home.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next day, these young men came back with another group of young people with them, and they shared this story with us that it seems that two groups were fighting with each other, arguing close to physical blows, and these young students who were our students. Were passing by, and they saw what was happening and that it was going to get pretty ugly. They just joined these people and went between them and started to ask them, what is it that happened? What are you guys arguing about? And listening to them and literally practicing the dialogue. Did I hear you say such and such and such? Did I get it? So they were going back and forth, and then they turned to the other group. Then they became coaches, helping them to listen, to hear each other. And they were successful. I think those young people were blown away by this method. And so they practiced, they followed them. And at the end of the whole interaction, they had peace with each other. And they wanted to know from our students, how did you learn this? What's that about? And so the students actually told them about the sessions we were having, and they said they wanted to go. They wanted to go as well. So the next day, not only the students came back, but they came back with the two gangs, with them, who were eager to learn more about safe conversations and how to speak that way.
So
that's
that story is really lovely. And what I'm picking up from it is, we teach dialogue in sort of formal groups, but you're talking about somebody walking down the street and spontaneously seeing a conflict situation happening in the street, and they move into that situation and regulate it by helping people move into the mirroring process. And that they were astonished and did I get you? And let me see if I got that, and so forth. So to me, that's the great hope, is that we can have dialogue as the natural structure of conversation, a way of talking all the time. And it isn't something you just do when there's a problem or learn about in a formal group, but you actually when you get it inside you and you know what to do, you can then move toward conflict and regulate it through the structure of the dialogue process by saying, hey, can you say that again? Or let me see if I got that. Is there more about it? And so, and you did that, and had people learn to do that after you taught them, and that quickly, because that was a 1 week experience, I think you're referring to. They got it and were doing
people.
And they were young
people. And so they are eager to learn.
Yeah.
They're ready to learn. And also, it's not just young people, but human beings want to be heard when they have something they want to say.
Now,
and
that's so well said. It's not young people. Everybody wants to be seen, heard, and cared about.
But especially young people, they want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be felt. And when they feel heard, oh, wow. So that's what happened. They were heard. And then with the dialogue, there is also the validation.
Yes.
And so when they, not only are they heard, but they are validated, and then there's empathy. So the dialogue really responds to our human needs. And that's why it's so powerful.
Yeah.
So for churches and congregations and maybe even universities, since you work there, who are interested in dealing with creating greater community and dealing with conflict, with all of your on-ground experience for all your decades, plus the work you've done with dialogue in the past few years, what would you say, what would be practical steps that you would say to somebody who are interested in moving in this direction?
Well, for institutions, whether it's places of worship or educational places or any organizations, actually, I would say that, if you're interested to do the dialogue, to learn those skills, get in touch with Safe Conversations. It's Quantum Connections, Safe Conversations. They are there. And so those companies are there to support by sending leaders like us to come and actually train your congregation or your leaders or whoever it is that is interested in. That's the first thing that I would say. Transform your environment with the dialogue. That's the first thing to do.
So model it. model it for people rather than go, you're talking the wrong way. You da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Just first model it to them and they'll go, what's going on?
And I think I'm hearing you say that what you would say to them if they were interested is go to Quantum Connections, get the training, and then bring it into your ecosystem, and then bring people into your system, your church, or wherever, like yourselves, to help integrate it into the community. With
Yes.
But the first step is to get the training, so that you can embody it.
I would say that, and even if you don't get training, even before the training, do the workshop.
Do the work.
So that's available. People just have to go to safeconversations.com and they'll get the schedule and all these things, and they can actually sign up for these sessions.
So that advice sounds like before you think about training, go to a workshop and learn about it yourselves, like what you all did, and practice. And then go to the training.
Yes, most definitely. Because I for me, having the workshop personally for yourself, or others that you're in relationship with, you get the reason why you want to have the training. Having the workshop and going through the experience of the dialogue and looking at yourself personally, how did you come to be this way?
Self-awareness.
All this sort of thing. That sort of thing is what generates the motivation and the desire to share this.
To share it,
with the world.
Yeah.
Now, you all have an organization, and we are going to run out of time in a few minutes. So I want people to hear about Elationships.
Yes.
Elations.
Yes, sir.
The name of your organization, and why did you do that, and what are you going to do with that? What are you doing with it?
Well, the both of us, we talked about earlier our work with the church, with the organized church, the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And both of us are now retired after a full, 30-something years of working, with the organized church. Mm-hmm. And Elationships, we have created, allows us to continue that sort of relationship work in the communities that we have connected with over the years. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. So Pollyanna can tell you exactly more about how we have designed or created Elationships. So tell me, what is Elationships?
Well, we call it Elationships, exhilarating experiences that generate transformed relationships. Mm-hmm. So we create programs that support people in their relationships to be, empowered in their relationships.
And we continue to work with individual couples. Mm-hmm. We work with churches. We work with community organizations.
We work with families.
We work with families. We work with businesses. Yeah. We will do relationship work with anybody who's willing to sit down and listen.
It sounds like you have a full service menu here.
Yes, exactly.
If you have people, we can help you. Yeah.
Well,
let's stay with this for a minute. So if people want to get in touch with you, do they do Elationship.com? Can you give them your website address?
Yes, it's Elationship.org.
Elationship.org.
Yes, or barnesrelationship@gmail.com.
That's the email.
That's email. barnesrelationship@gmail.com.
Did you say find? FIND?
No. No, it's elationships.org.
Elation. Yeah, I think that's the easy.
Barnes. It's Barnes Relationship. Baldwin Barnes.
Oh, BARNES.
Okay.
Barnes, I think.
Elationships@gmail.com.
Okay. And they can get you through your website.
Yes, and the thing that we also use a lot for the work that we do is the book that I have written called Speak Your World.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that book is so Oh, I should have brought my copy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right.
Speak your world into existence.
Yeah. Speak Your World by Pollyanna Barnes. You'll find it at Amazon, and it's powerful communication that creates, the desires of your heart. That's basically what
I really want to support, for everybody listening, that book, because it embodies this idea, speak your world into being, that we have the power to do that. If you can own it, you've done it well. So now,
in the dialogue, the safe conversations, in the book we have recommended that this is really the best method you can use to actually create the life that you love, the life that you want. So get a copy, and you will be blessed.
And then we're going to have to sign off, but we want you also to know that if you want to find us, go to either safeconversations.com or Quantum Connections, and there you can discover the training program, an opportunity to do what you've just heard Pollyanna and Baldwin doing in the ecosystems of their choice, because dialogue works everywhere and with everyone to help move through conflict into connection and to connecting beyond difference. Thank you all for being on our new podcast, Diverse Dialogues. You have graced us with your dignity and your depth and your intellect, your experience, and sharing that with us and with all of our audience. So thank you, and we'll see you down the path.